Hi, everybody. I was asked to start promptly, so it's 9 a.m., so let's do it. Good morning, everyone. I'm Andrew Shuttleworth. I'm here from Made Media. We are a digital agency and working for arts organizations, and we've got some thoughts to share with you about trends in ways we are finding to build websites more efficiently and cheaper and faster and with fewer of the pain points that we used to take for granted, take as a given. Just very briefly about us, we're a digital agency, like I said, specializing in work with arts and cultural institutions around the world. We were started in Birmingham, England about 20 years ago as a general purpose creative technology agency, starting about 15 years ago with work for Glyndebourne and the Royal Albert Hall in London. We started having to learn about Tessitura specifically and the Tessitura API for those organizations. We went very deep learning about those, and really in the years since, that's been our specialty. So we focus exclusively these days on work for arts and cultural institutions. All but 2 of our clients are nonprofit organizations. They all sell tickets. And there are about 40 of us around the world, mostly still in the UK, but a lot of us are here in the US as well. Here's the kind of work we do. Here's where we are on the map. So those dots are our team members. We all work from home these days. And this version of the map adds our clients. So we're a little group of people working in our very particular niche for organizations all over the world. And here are some of those organizations. And this, by the way, is us. This is most of the team in October, this past October, in Stratford-upon-Avon, under what was supposedly a 1,300-year-old tree. We don't usually get the chance to see each other in person very often, so this was a special treat. So so we've been doing this a while. Let me talk briefly about the old way, what we might call the old way of making orchestra websites. And actually, I'd put that old in scare quotes because we are still very much doing the kinds of things I'm going to talk about as the old way. This isn't, a single revolution. There isn't like a single one new right way to be doing this. This isn't like we have exclusive access to some brilliant new idea. I'm just trying to represent some trends that we see. So the old way is still very much a reality in a lot of ways. But just to talk about what I mean by the old way. So typically these projects, they'd start with a very intensive design and planning process. There'd be a lot of meetings, lots of spreadsheets, lots of budgetary conversations. When you're actually building the site, the marketing side of the site, you build it as an instance of a content management system, which maybe this seems obvious, but this is part of the thing we're thinking about changing. So after launch, that content management system would have a code base that would need to live on 1 or more servers, and it would communicate with a database, and there would be releases, like new releases, new versions of the content management system, and then you'd need to get patches, there'd be upgrades, there'd be maintenance, the servers itself would need maintenance. And in addition to all of that, changes beyond what you'd originally anticipated at the outset of the project very often need to be executed by an agency or a web developer or something like that. And just sort of here are some of the artifacts of what what projects like that look like. Right, they're long Gantt chart kind of waterfall delivery. This is real. This is a real one from a recent proposal of ours. So again, I'm not picking on anyone but us here. This is also real. This is from our work with the New York City Ballet, the early planning stages. This is just one line item out of hundreds from that early planning process where we're talking about how promo code landing pages need to work and like how they get their detail from Tessitura and like what options they provide to the user and all of that. Massive amounts of thinking and planning before there's anything you can see. Similarly, this is a screenshot from that same project of Adobe XD, open to a whole mess of wireframes and prototypes that were in progress. So there's a lot of looking at stuff like this, again, before you actually are building anything. And obviously there's a lot of good reasons to do things that way. that planning process is really sort of where we lock down the size of the project. We know that what we're planning to build is going to do what our client needs it to do. But there are certainly some pain points, and we feel these pain points. Our clients feel these pain points. So there's that, that big capital D discovery and design process at the outset, huge amounts of planning. It takes forever. It can take many months before you have something you can show your board or your colleagues or even yourself that's like a website in a browser that you can actually look at, let alone sell a ticket with. There's often siloed knowledge, so often necessarily in those processes, there are different teams sort of working on their own pieces of it. There's like a design handoff to code. There's the ticketing side of things, and having to structure things with this handoff. Every one of those handoffs is a moment for there to be some knowledge lost or for some inefficiency. So we're trying to reduce those. Obviously, it's a massive drain on resources. These are really expensive projects some of the time. They can take up massive amounts of your staff time, and so you're exhausted before you've even launched it. After it launches, it needs that constant care and feeding, right? So those websites, they need continuous investment to stay healthy and functional, and moreover, to not get you to the point where 5 years later, 10 years later, you have to just replace the whole thing. We don't like being in any of these situations. We don't like having to, tell our clients, they need to invest in some server upgrade or something like that, just to keep things moving. We're trying to avoid being in those situations. So a new way, and again, this isn't a single moment where everything changes, but it's a trend, and the idea is to move towards really rapidly launching something and then continuously evolving it. And just as a quick aside, when we're talking about this new way of thinking, I remember these days a lot. So to my mind, this is the sort of new trend I'm talking about here is a continuation of what we've been doing in this industry for a long time, which is reducing those points of handoff. So it used to be, we'd spend a lot of time in something like Photoshop making very precise pictures of websites before we would build anything. A lot of people still do that. There's still reason to do that in some cases. But for years now, for the past few years, we've been really moving away from that, so that we do just enough in Photoshop, we do just enough pictures of a website that we're all on the same page, understanding, in our minds what we're building, and that the client can sign off on it. But we move to code as quickly as we can to something you can see in a browser, because it'll be responsive. You'll feel the real fonts. If there's like a little animation effect, you'll see that. Much easier to make good decisions about something when you're working in the actual medium. So moving away from that Photoshop to code handoff is very much a model for the kind of thing we're thinking about here. So the idea of the new way is to get to a functional website in days, not months, not necessarily something you'd release, but something you can look at yourself and that does at least some of the things you need it to do. Start selling tickets immediately or almost immediately, and then optimize based on real data. And then make decisions about what you actually want to invest in. So, not having to reinvent the wheel or spend money on technical architecture, or, invest with faraway specialist agencies when you don't necessarily need to. The system, and this is slightly out of order, this is the slide I wanted to show you. So we're made, and what we've started doing is we've launched just last year this Basker platform, this Basker content management system, which is the thing we're moving to. And this is part of how we're enabling that sort of more fleet-footed process. It's live we've got one client live with it that just launched a few weeks ago. A couple screenshots of this. This is not an orchestra, sorry, but this is the Writers Theater in Glencoe, Illinois. This is their beautiful new website. You can see things like out-of-the-box tessitura awareness for things on this calendar. Like if you can see that it's indicating one of those shows has less availability than some of the others. Really rich model for building pages, really flexible, beautiful pages out of content blocks. So the way Basker works, I talked about how the old way is with a code base of a content management system that needs to be installed on a server and maintained and that kind of thing. This is different. So with Basker, instead of doing it that way, we deliver it as a hosted, continuously updated platform, kind of like Squarespace or Shopify. So there's no specific server for one instance of it that needs to get upgraded or can get out of sync. Everyone's on the same code base. Everyone's on the latest version. We've designed it specifically for the needs of performing arts organizations. And there's a lot about the data model that's unique to arts organizations. It's in there about seasons and performances and venues and people and works. And so you could have, you can build out meet the orchestra section, and then the orchestra members are actually connected if you want them to be with the concerts they're performing in and that kind of thing. And it's also designed to be very extensible and customizable without code deployments, without you needing to have access to a server or necessarily a tessitura or a ticketing specialist agency. So I have a few screen recordings to show you of how some of this works, just to give you a sense of it. So signing up for Basker, the idea is this is a self-service thing. So this is live now. You can log in. You can give yourself a password, create your account. It wants you to upload an avatar of yourself. There's Shay, my colleague Shay's avatar. And we've done that. This is a real screen recording. We can create a website. What kind of organization are you? We're an orchestra in the United States. That uses, we can choose what ticketing system we use. We've chosen tessitura for this example. You can choose your plan. This is a thing we're still working on, is sort of what types of organizations might need what features. You can put in a credit card. And there you go. So that's it. Now you're signed up for Basker. And so let me show you a bit about what it looks like to style that. So that could be like minute 5 of this. We're now in what we call the Basker Studio. We've got the starter theme here. There are lots of ways to do it, but we have a really quick and easy way of getting things started with a starter theme that lets you do things like just swap out your colors, put in your logo, answer some quick questions about what options you want available to you overall. And the idea is here, without having to leap into code or think about the design at all, the idea is you have something you can start looking at and start playing with and start thinking about how you need to customize it very quickly. Once we've done that a bit more, if we take a look at actually managing an event page, here's one we've created earlier about Mozart and Brahms concert. And here you see, this is the interface where you'd be editing content. You see there's a nice live preview of the page you're working on. There's a nice content block organized way of managing your content, so it's not a very flexible template where things have to happen in a particular order. So here we're going to add some images to this one. And I only noticed earlier today that in this screen recording, I'm pretty sure my colleague Shay had ChatGPT make pictures of me. So I think that's going to be me playing a piano. It's not really me. That's supposed to be me. And you can see there's a nice interface for rearranging these, and it's asking you just the questions that make sense for the design of these particular blocks. All of this is extensible. Everything you see here that's in that starter theme, like the way it looks on the front end and the options presented to the editor are all configurable in this user interface without needing a code deployment. as is the theme itself. I think that one is supposed to be my boss, James, as well. So I'm going to give Shay trouble for that later. There you go. So the idea is to start really quickly and minimally. Don't reinvent the wheel. Don't get yourself and we don't want to get into a situation where we're charging an organization money for doing something that lots of organizations need. Like we're trying to share the shared expenses. And so that each organization can really invest mostly in the stuff that will make a difference for their business. And get to that point quickly, and so that you can test and iterate and sort of reprioritize what's in your backlog, rather than having to guess upfront, make educated guesses upfront about really what should be in that first release. So the idea, less time and money to launch. We want to bake the necessary maintenance costs sort of just into the platform, like universal basic income for your website, and then you can invest beyond that when you've got the need and the budget to do it. All with a mind so that nobody should get in a situation where there's been a few years of turnover and underinvestment in the website, and now the website we just need to start over, and now it's a, however many hundreds of thousands of dollars question to begin again. Sometimes you want to do that, but you shouldn't have to do it because the tech has gotten a bit stale. And I'm just about at time, so I'm going to stop talking. For more, we're Made Media. My colleague Crystal and I will be at our table. We'll be around. You can schedule a demo at basker.io if you want to meet my friend Shay, who set those up. And you can also reach out to me. So thank you. I think we have like 2 minutes if anybody has any questions. Otherwise, you can find us around. Thank you.